Look, I have huge sympathy for the police. They're tasked with the impossible job of keeping us all safe. So, of course, they're going to say anything they can to do that. The problem is when they say this.
Take responsibility for your safety. Make sure that people know where you are and that, if you've got a mobile phone, carry it.
Did you hear that? We're the ones who have to take responsibility.
So that was Lisa Wilkinson. She is an Australian talk show host. Well, she was. She's currently forced to take leave, I guess we would say, in this country. I've been asked by my Australian fans to do a video regarding her because recently she was caught lying in her memoir to the tune of, hey, there's video evidence showing that what you claim happened did not happen. I plan on doing a video about that in the near future. I have a few weeks before she comes back to work. But I want to do a video about this first because this is a lot easier subject to respond to. Now, this video that we're going to review is a little bit older. It came out about the same time that I started my channel. So I didn't get to it then, although I do vaguely remember seeing this pop up at the time. But anyway, welcome to my channel. I want to make sure that everybody knows that I appreciate you stopping by to check out my work, to support my work, and please be sure to click on that subscribe button. Be sure to share the video. That really helps get the word out about what I do. And don't hesitate to drop a like on the video. So let's get started here and see what Lisa Wilkinson has to say.
Now, I wanted to take a minute here, if I could, to talk about the advice that's been given in the wake of Eurydice Dixon's death. Every day, women are told how to behave, what to wear, where to go, and where to avoid for their safety. And I'm not sure we should be listening to every word of advice.
Well, that's probably true. You shouldn't be listening to every word of advice. If you're given bad advice, then you shouldn't take that advice. Now, I'm to understand that law enforcement in this country is to say, hey, if somebody pulls a gun on you, if somebody pulls a knife on you, and they say, hey, come with me, you go with them. You cooperate with them no matter what. We don't give that advice anymore. That's bad advice. By the way, if you cooperate with somebody who has a gun, a knife, and they take you someplace else, their plan is to take you someplace else, you are most likely going to die. Let them try to kill you in public, where everybody can see.
If you're a woman living in 2018, you'll be very familiar with this advice.
Take responsibility for your safety. Make sure that you have situational awareness. Make sure that people know where you are and that, if you've got a mobile phone, carry it.
People need to be aware of their own personal security.
Yeah, that's good advice. I don't see anything wrong with that. Everybody should be aware of their surroundings and take steps to ensure that they are not a victim.
This time, the advice was delivered by police after the alleged rape and murder of 22-year-old Eurydice Dixon. But it's a sentiment we've heard before.
You're going to continue to hear that. There's not going to be any stopping that sentiment. As long as there are human beings, there's going to be bad actors among human beings. It's tragic. This is a terrible thing that happened. It should never have happened. But the reality is bad things happen. And you're not going to stop it by going, hey, they shouldn't give this advice.
I suggest to people, particularly females, they shouldn't be alone in parks. We just need to be a little bit more careful, a little bit more security conscious.
That advice came after the 2015 murder of 17-year-old Melbourne schoolgirl Marcia Bourke, who was stabbed 49 times in daylight during her early evening walk.
I feel like when men are attacked, it's all about the attacker. It's all about he's a coward punch, what is wrong with this guy, who behaves like that. And then when women are attacked, it's all about the victim. Why was she there? Who does that? Who walks alone in a park?
The thing is...
Well, you shouldn't be walking alone in a park at night, even if you're a man. I wouldn't do it, and I don't know why a woman would think that she could get away with that. We know the crime statistics. We hear about this all too often. A woman was walking alone and she was attacked. Women are smaller than men on average, and very much weaker than men on average. So...
both these women most likely took that all too familiar advice. We know Eurydice had her mobile phone with her and let people know where she was because the last thing she did was message her partner. I'm almost home safe. How about you? And while Marcia was alone and wearing headphones, chances are she was being both careful and vigilant.
Well, she wasn't being very vigilant if she was wearing headphones. You're just not. If you're listening to something being pumped into your ears instead of listening to your surroundings, you're not being very vigilant, are you?
Because she's a woman, and that's what we all have to do.
I try and avoid public transport as much as I can.
I actually have crossed the road and avoided walking in back streets before because there's been probably a totally innocuous person.
So you avoided walking in back streets. Sounds like a good idea to me. Why wouldn't you? I mean, why would you walk in back streets? I don't walk in back streets. Why would you do that? I stay on main roads where there's other people around, hopefully to avoid any kind of trouble.
Trailing behind me and I've been nervous.
We're told we're not allowed to walk home by ourselves at night. I've also been told to watch what you're wearing.
You're not allowed to walk home by yourself at night. You're not allowed to. It's against the law. It's illegal to walk home at night alone. No, you're allowed to do whatever you want to do, and you're going to do whatever you want to do, but I think that you just need to take steps to keep from being a victim.
So much advice, so many rules around what we should do and what we shouldn't. It's hard to keep track of just how we're supposed to keep ourselves safe. Don't go out at night. Don't walk alone. Don't wear short skirts. Don't draw attention to yourself.
Yeah, don't wear short skirts. So tell people to screw off then. Why are you listening to people if you don't want to hear this advice? If you don't want to hear it, don't listen to it. You don't have to take advice. The same thing, I criticize my students' work, and some students, every once in a while I get a student who's wants to argue with me, and they don't understand that critique time is not about argumentation. It's all about listening to what somebody thinks of your work, your artwork, and saying, I didn't think about it that way. You might have a point. Or going, I didn't think about it that way. I disagree with you. That's it. That's all you have to do. But not a lot, but every once in a while you get that student who's like, oh, no, it's supposed to be like this. It's this. You don't understand. And I don't know what to tell you. If you don't like the advice you're hearing, if you don't like the criticism you're getting, you don't have to take it. But then you're going to suffer the consequences in the end. You're going to be a bad artist. You're going to be a victim.
Don't find yourself near strange men.
Our teacher in Year 9 told us that if we were ever being raped, we should tell our attacker that we are doing a poo.
Well, I think I'll let Jim Gaffigan cover that one.
Then she explained right before the surgery, they inserted a catheter. I didn't know what that was, so I was like, oh, okay. Then I started piecing it together. Hurts when I pee, catheter. I'm suing this hospital. You'll be hearing from my lawyer, doctor. What monsters. If given a choice of peeing all over myself or having a tube inserted in my penis, I'll take the pee shower. I guess I'm old-fashioned, you know?
Now, all jokes aside, if you can do a poo in that situation, I think you should go for it. Because I'd rather have my own poop all over my legs and my clothes than some guy inside of me that I don't want inside of me. I'd rather have my pee. I'd pee too. I'd rather pee all over myself and have that pee run down my legs and soak in my pants than have some guy doing stuff to me that I don't want him to do to me. You know, to keep that from happening, you should fight as hard as you possibly can. You scratch, you bite, you kick, you punch, you do whatever you have to do to keep it from happening. Even if you don't succeed, you want to make sure that that person has a bad time. Period. That they think twice about doing it again. And you never know, you might be able to fight them off.
Sounds ridiculous, right? But these are things women have to seriously consider on a daily basis. Every single day, we're assessing potential threats around us. Often we get that awful feeling in the pit of our stomach, a feeling Eurydice and Marcia, not to mention Anita Cobby and Jill Maher, no doubt felt when their young lives were cut short. These are names we shouldn't know. These women and so many others like them should be out there just going about their lives, spending time with their families, being a wife, a mother, a sister, a daughter, a friend, just like you and me. Already this year, 31 women in Australia have been murdered. All but 3 of those were allegedly killed by male perpetrators. Women killed at the hands of violent men. Yet it's women who are being asked to change their behaviour. Look, I have huge sympathy for the police. They're tasked with the impossible job of keeping us all safe. So, of course, they're going to say anything they can to do that. The problem is when they say this.
Take responsibility for your safety. Make sure that people know where you are and that, if you've got a mobile phone, carry it.
Did you hear that? We're the ones who have to take responsibility. They're focused...
Yeah, so everybody has to take responsibility for their own lives. I don't know how you're going to stop bad things from happening. The best thing you can do is take responsibility for your own life.
On how to prevent this crime at the individual or micro level. If one woman doesn't walk at night, that one woman won't be attacked. But the problem with giving this... Notice she had a little catch in her voice right there, just right at the right time, and
The music in the background, that sympathetic music. This is such a put on. I mean, it's not a news report. This is a try to pull at your heartstrings and demonize a group of people known as men. That's what this is about. And I don't know why these people think that that's a good idea. And I'm glad that the world appears to be waking up to it.
Giving this advice is that it keeps that one woman safe at the expense of all women's right to move freely. We need our leaders to think and speak at the macro level. And the best way to prevent this crime and keep all women safe isn't by changing the behaviour of women, but by changing the behaviour of men.
There it is. Change the behavior of men. What are men supposed to do differently? I want to know. I know what some men are supposed to do differently, but you act as if there's an inclination in men to just harm women. And I don't understand that, because I've never seen that inclination in men in general.
This might upset some people, but honestly, parents, instead of telling our girls not to walk through parks, maybe we should be telling our boys not to rape them.
You know what we should do? We should not just tell boys not to rape women. We should make rape illegal. What? I'm sorry, wait a second, hold on. My producer is trying to tell me something here. What, you're telling me that rape is already illegal? Oh. Huh. Well, I guess that kind of changes things, doesn't it? See, rape is illegal, and we should tell men not to rape. Kind of seems like we've kind of already covered all of our bases if rape is illegal. Because I was never told not to rape when I was a child. Nobody ever came to me and said, yeah, don't rape people. But I figured out that, like, putting your hands on people who don't want you to put your hands on them was a bad thing. In fact, I was told that in kindergarten. When I was 5 years old, you don't put your hands on people if they don't want you to put your hands on them. Keep your hands to yourself. How many times have you heard that when you were in grade school? Keep your hands to yourself. Keep your hands to yourself. Keep your hands to yourself. I mean, it's ridiculous. This happened to one of my when I was in 6th grade. One of my classmates. He was standing at the bottom of a flight of stairs, a little ways away from the stairs, not right at the bottom, just a short flight of stairs, like, I don't know, 6 stairs or 5 stairs or something. And one of the more developed girls came out, and she was wearing a little half shirt, and she jumped down those stairs, and her shirt came up, and he saw her breasts. And she was highly offended, and she went to the teacher, and she complained, and this and that, and it's like, what can you do? He was just standing there, and you happened to jump off the stairs. Whose fault is that? Did he victimize you by seeing you? Oh my gosh, he has eyes, and he saw you. Well, wear a bra next time. Don't jump off the stairs. Whose fault is that?
Margaret Atwood, the author who wrote the dystopian feminist novel The Handmaid's Tale more than 30 years ago.
It was written more than 30 years ago. It must be true then.
Captured the imbalance we're talking about here when she remarked, "Men are afraid that women will laugh at them. Women are afraid that men will kill them."
And you know what I'm afraid of. Yep, you know. Margaret Atwood definitely knows, because she's met me and she's met men apparently. No, I'm not afraid that women will laugh at me. Sure, I wouldn't like that, and women have laughed at me, and women have done things to make other people laugh at me. But what I'm worried about is women are going to kill me, that women are going to accuse me of misconduct, and then I'm going to be blamed for that misconduct, and the whole world will ostracize me, I will be imprisoned, and it will ruin my life. I am concerned that women will rob me. I am afraid that they will assault me in some way. I had a girlfriend, an ex-girlfriend, who did assault me. Now, was it face-to-face? She would come up behind me and hit me. These are things that women do to men. They're not innocent little flowers. They're not innocent little angels. Are men innocent? No. I'm not saying that either. There are bad people. Doesn't matter what you got between your legs.
Beautifully said, on a day when our nation's just pits in our stomachs for what's happened to another beautiful, intelligent girl. And, you know, you're right, Lise. What do I say to my daughter when she wants to go out? Do I say to her, what I feel like I'm up against, Lise, is how do I compete with that little 4-year-old boy who's watched his mother being hit, disrespected, so in his brain thinks, that's normal, I have this disrespect. How do I compete with that as a mother?
Well, as a 4-year-old boy, at least I was at one time, I can guarantee you that he's not going to be doing a lot of injury to a girl or anybody else. He's 4. He is 4. Do you know what the most hostile people in the world are? If you're listening to this this video, you probably have been one of the most hostile people in the world. 2 and 3-year-olds are the most hostile people in the world because they don't control their emotions. They haven't learned that you don't hit, that you don't yell, that you don't throw tantrums to get your way. 4-year-olds are going to be hostile because that's the way they are. Fortunately, they're small and can't do much damage. I don't know why you're concerned about 4-year-olds harming your daughter. Is your daughter 4? Is your daughter 1? Is that what it is? Is your daughter and your 1-year-old daughter go out into the world? Wow, you people is not smart. Not so much with the smartness, are ya?
And that's what the hard choice is. I either try and manage and control her and keep her safe because I feel like as a mum I can't compete with the messages and the violence and the hate that he has for women.
There is no doubt that the men that we are dealing with who perpetrate these crimes are clearly damaged. We do know that because normal human beings don't behave like that.
But by changing the behaviour of men,
But you're right, I have a 20-year-old daughter. She's at university at the moment, and every time she has to walk across campus, if it's later at night, she calls me. And I've always said to her, call me at any time so that you can feel safe, because we've had the discussion. She needs to be on the phone so that if any potential person is going to do her wrong, that person knows that she has a lifeline to somebody else. But it is true, women...
That will do nothing. In fact, that will make your daughter more likely to be a victim because she's going to be distracted by her phone. So the perpetrator is going to assume, oh, she's not paying attention to me. She's paying attention to her phone. What are you going to do? Like zip out of your window and fly across the country or wherever it is that your daughter is? You're not going to be able to get there in time to save her. You're not Superman, or in your case, Supergirl. That's just a horrible thought, thinking of Supergirl being as unappealing as this woman. But yeah, that does no good. Waste of your time and your daughter's energy.
I mean, you guys don't know this, but I mean, every conversation I've had with a woman today, we all compared notes on the things that we do when we're in situations where we feel unsafe, and we compared notes. It's the keys in the hands, it's a whistle on your key ring, it's calling someone.
Taking a photo, I take a photo of often the taxi just in case. I take a photo of the number.
The number plate.
So I can say, oh, you know, someone knows where I am.
And we don't even think about it. It's just the way we conduct ourselves.
So let me tell you about the things that I've done to make sure that I'm safe in this world. All of the martial arts training I had. Talk about some of that, you know. Injured my knee, dislocated my shoulder, dislocated my elbow. I've had surgery on my knee, my shoulder. They can't do anything about my elbow. Not with any kind of good success rate. Almost lost my eye. The injury to my knee threw off my gait when I was walking. Led to severe scoliosis that left me disabled for 8 years. Fortunately, I found a chiropractor who's like, dude, I can fix you. And he did. They wanted to operate on my back. I walk around with, not right now, but I've walked around with weapons on me just because I was afraid I would be attacked. I've been confronted, assaulted more than once. It's not just women who have to worry about this. I don't understand why these people think that this is a female-only problem. More men are killed in Australia than women. Here we have the statistics from 2017, 2018. What are these numbers? As we can see, New South Wales, for every 0.5 woman, 1 man. Victoria, for every 0.5 woman, 1 man. Queensland, for every 1/4 woman, 1 man. Well, West Australia, I think. For every 1 woman, 1.75 men. South Australia, for every 1/4 woman, 1.5 men. Tasmania, 0 women, 1 man. The Northern Territory, 1 woman to 4.25 men. The national average is 0.5 women to every 1.25 man killed. Look at the number here. 138 men in that time period. 138 men compared to 62 women. More than twice as many men. And you're worried about the women. This comes out of the Australian government, Australian Institute of Criminology. The women dying is terrible. It's a horrible tragedy. I do not want them to be murdered. The men dying is a tragedy too. Why can't we acknowledge this? And then why are you pointing the finger at men and saying you're the bad guys? Yeah, sure. Most of those women were killed by men. I'm not going to deny that. And women pretty much are exclusively raped by men. And that's horrible. It should never happen. But this stuff is already illegal. We're just trying to take the necessary steps to keep it from happening to the extent that it does. You can be responsible for this. You said you have a whistle, you put your keys in your hand, you do this, you do that. Don't wear high heels. Don't wear skirts. It's harder to run away. Make sure that you're in good physical shape so that you can run away. Or make sure that you weigh 300 pounds so nobody wants to touch you. You got options.
And it's a chance draw whether you're the one that ends up like that beautiful young 20-year-old, 22-year-old Eurydice.
Yep. And you're absolutely right there, Lisa. As you say in the piece, it's a macro problem and it needs to be solved. But it's, unfortunately, it's an enormous problem with a hugely long-term solution. And until we get to that point, I understand those fears you talk about there, George.
But something, and Lisa's right though, these conversations, we have to change. And you hit the nail on the head when you said we have to be having the conversations with our boys as well.
And you boys have to talk to your mates and you have to make them understand that violence against women is wrong. It's really, really wrong. It's
wrong for everybody. I mean, I can't say that enough. You all know how I feel about it. Anyway, that's all I got for this time. I'm going to be putting out another video on Mondays. I have so many video ideas right now, I can't get to all of them. I might have a little bit more time in December to get to some of these videos, and maybe I'll get out a few extra ones. It'll be awesome if I do. And again, I appreciate everybody stopping by. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure that you're still subscribed. Very important, because YouTube does unsubscribe people. And find me on Twitter. I am under the Anti-Woke Warrior on Twitter. If you like, tweets, hey, I put out some good tweets sometimes. So I will see you in the next video.